Good morning, everyone. Lovely to see you again. It's another Friday and we're here together for assembly. We've been thinking, haven't we, about keeping on going, and we've been using some quite long words for that. Do you remember them? Endurance is our focus value at the moment. Keeping on going through those tough times, even when things are difficult, not giving up. I'm going to read you a story today about a girl who didn't have much endurance at the start. She didn't persevere. She wanted to give up, and luckily that didn't happen. The girl's name was Ruth, and she was sometimes called Reluctant Ruth. Maybe you've heard that word before. Not very keen. And the story is by Jan Edmonds, the same person who wrote that winter poem I read to you a while ago. Ruth was 5 years old. She was a happy child who liked being outside, playing with her friends. She liked going to school. She liked learning at home. She liked painting and drawing, making things in art. She liked dancing, PE and singing. But she was very reluctant, not keen at all, to do the things that she found difficult, like reading or maths. She couldn't concentrate on anything for very long. And if she was challenged, if her teacher said, "Okay, that's a good start, Ruth. Now, let's try this that's a little bit harder," instead of thinking, "Yes, that's so interesting," she didn't have the patience for it. She did bring a book home from school every day, but when her mother or father asked her to practice her reading or go through her spellings, Ruth was always very reluctant to do so. Ruth was delighted when the summer holidays came. She loved to go and stay with her grandma and granddad on their farm in the country. Most of all, she loved the companionship of Jess, the sheepdog. Jess was so clever rounding up the sheep. She could do so many tricks, and when she wasn't needed to work, she was with Ruth all the time. Together, they'd feed the chickens or help to fetch in the cows for milking. Jess would fetch the brushes for Ruth when she groomed Nellie the Shetland pony, and Jess would follow the tractor if Grandpa took Ruth for a ride. They also loved to play together with a ball. Every night at bedtime, Grandma would read a story. One night she said to Ruth, "Shall we read the story together?" Ruth lay back on her pillow. "No, Grandma, I don't really like reading. It's too hard." "Don't you want to learn to read?" asked Grandma. Ruth began to sulk. "No, I don't like it," she said. "But reading can be so much fun," said Grandma. "And there are so many things you won't be able to do if you can't read. And there are just so many wonderful stories to enjoy." "But it's too hard," said Ruth. "Life isn't always easy," said Grandma. "We have to learn to work for the things we want in life. Nothing good comes without some effort." Grandma was wise. "I know," she said. "Let's make reading a game. When you come down to breakfast in the morning, I'll leave some notes every day for you to read and follow." Ruth wasn't too keen on this idea, but she was a polite child, and she knew Grandma wouldn't be pleased if she didn't make an effort. The next morning, when she got up, there was a message on the table. This is what it said. Could you read that? Come and look for me in the hen house. Ruth struggled a bit, but she managed to read the words in the end. She went outside to find Grandma. On the hen house door was another message. Did you read it? Come in and help me to get the eggs. It's quite a fun little thing to do, isn't it? You could do this in your house. I just used ordinary pieces of paper here. I'm sure you've got that. You could leave each other messages in your house. Ruth went in to the hen house, and together she and Grandma collected and counted the eggs into a basket. When they went back into the kitchen, there was another note. Shall we bake cakes? Ruth loved to bake with Grandma. Yes, please, she said. Grandma fetched a thick book from the shelf. We better find the recipe so we know what to do, she said, opening the page they needed. Of course, Grandma already knew how to make cakes, but she wanted to show Ruth that if you can read a recipe, you can bake all kinds of things. With Grandma's help, Ruth managed to read out the ingredients and then follow the instructions, and soon the cakes were made. A delicious smell floated through the kitchen, and soon Grandad appeared, eager to taste the warm cakes. Every day, for the next 3 weeks, Grandma left notes for Ruth, who became enthusiastic about following the instructions. The more she read, the easier it became. She even began to help with reading the bedtime story. Soon it was the last week of her holiday. Ruth would be going home in a few days. She knew she'd miss the farm, especially Jess. That was strange. She hadn't seen Jess since yesterday, and the dog hadn't come to meet her as usual that morning. Grandma suggested Jess was probably out with Grandad. She told Ruth that she was very pleased with the way she'd been persevering with her reading, and that she might find, after following today's notes, that there'd be a special surprise for her. Ruth had to read a whole chain of notes, and after several, she found one on the shed door. Come and look in the dog kennel. Jess wants to give you something. Ruth wondered, what could it be? She opened the door of the kennel and peeped in. Her heart leapt. There was Jess, surrounded by 6 beautiful, chubby, black and white puppies. Grandma and Grandad followed her in. Choose one of your very own, and you can take it home with you when it's big enough, said Grandma. You've worked so hard and you deserve a reward. Ruth was so thrilled. Her very own puppy. How wonderful. Grandma and Grandad looked at each other and smiled. Reading isn't so bad, is it? No, it's great, said Ruth. Several weeks later, Ruth went back to the farm to collect her puppy. She called it Wordy because she said if she hadn't read the words on Grandma's notes, she'd never have found her new pet. Ruth enjoys books now and often reads too wordy. She's no longer reluctant to learn. This is my Kindle, or my old Kindle anyway. I'd had it for about 10 years, I think, and it can store lots of books. I'm sure you've seen this kind of thing before. The case got quite battered, I think because it had been opened and closed thousands of times as I'd been reading. And then inside with the Kindle, the word Kindle kind of got all scratched away because I'd used it so much. And it was getting very, very slow with things like page turning. And if I wanted to buy a new book on my Kindle, it seemed a little bit reluctant, to be honest. So, at Christmas time, my favourite present was a new Kindle. So I've got a brand new one. I've just got it here. I'll go and collect it. So I've got a new one with a nice smart case. And now it's very, very quick to open up so that I can get to all the books that I'm reading straight away. I had to learn to read when I was a child, just like you. Nobody is born, no babies can read. It's something that we all have to work on. There are other things to work on, of course. In the Bible, I'm sure that Jesus was tempted many times to give up. He could have taken the easy way out. He was often tired and weary, but he wasn't reluctant to do the right thing for those around him and for himself. I'm going to light our tea light now and we'll say a prayer together. Now, the prayer I'm going to say is a rhyming prayer that you've heard before, so you might even want to join in. You can look at the tea light here, that flame, or you can close your eyes, or you can just look down at your hands. Dear God, Lord of the loving heart, may mine be loving too. Lord of the gentle hands, may mine be gentle too. Lord of the willing feet, may mine be willing too. So may I grow more like you in all I say and do. Amen. Have a lovely weekend, everybody, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.